Would you thoroughness if a history you recite in a paper or on the internet was spelled by a car quite rather than a tense-out chop? Would you though be capable to speak the distinction? Greet to the planet of robo-journalistic, and he's upcoming more rapid rather than you believe. Squirreled off at the Click Associates, PA, staff in London is a little crew of journalists and software program engineering personnel. Their work on a machine framework how can do the job of repeated humane beings, collecting out exciting regional information trends, all of criminality statistic to how lot babies are creature unborn out of marriage. As portion of a test, the PA has started emailing choose car-generated stories, no more than rather than few paragraphs or so in long, to regional newspapers how might wish to use such a content. We've fair been emailing them samples of production of stories we've manufactured and they've been with a sensible quantity of them, says Peter Clifton, text editor-in-chief. The robo-journalism is proper more famous through the planet's newsrooms, as publishers fight to manage in shrinking paper circulations and the selector to on the internet advertisement. Mr. Clifton hopes to be distribution 30,000 of these stories each monthly by the end of April. The draft, named Radar Gun, is a association in URB's print and is underfunded by a €706,000, £620,000, parent of Google. But how lot of a reporter's workload can vary be automatic? And are jobs eventually at hazard? Mr. Clifton points out how, at the phase, the framework just amplifies the job humane journalists do, several of whom are implicated in evolving the framework's exit. The automatic portion is now bounded to minesweeping via the information thing how would get humans far much longer to do. However, stories churned out by machines are proper more than overall, especially in the US. The LA Times quake alerts, relying on information of the US Geologic Examination, USGS, include been automatic with 2014. But the risks of such a system became precise recent June while the paper published a paper on a 6.8 significance tremble off the shore of California. It was in fact a recording of a 1925 quake how had been published by the USGS in mistake. The LA Times automatic history had emerging fair amin following the USGS published its obsolete paper. In the instance, creature at first to the news story was certainly a inconvenience. The odd hiccup has unsuccessful to retain publishers, yet. Same stories will be automatic enhanced every 1 week with carton score information submitted by top high school soccer coaches, and paper on the schema explainable. The examination, of Oxford College's Reuters Institution of Journalistic, found how lot publishers are with automate to produce exciting information rapidly, of poll results to formal figures on public issues. Down there are some uses, although one agent in the Netherlands uses an algo to overwrite stories in simpler tongue, for a news story cable designed at family time efficient. Largest of these systems aren't too subtle, signed writer of the paper Alexander Fonta, later at the Austrian Click agent. But more than progressive toolkit are in the plant. Tencent, the China technology gigantic over the WeChat exchanging messages application, newly showed off a framework how could compose a paper on a speaking automatic execution. Text editor of news story website Silica, Zach Seward, had one of his own speeches at a meeting spelled up the way, and he was amazed. China's country news story agent, Xinhua, is now reorganizing himself to growth the use of AI. But could AI vary get above more than tasks historically made by humane journalists, such as telephone interviews in topic? Down there could be such a item as a robotic interviewer inviting up the favorite ones of a dead man and request them how they sense, says Mr. Fonta, relating to die-bang telephone call, a occasionally contentious, but frequently essential problem for journalists. Thou could scenario how, but I wonder the issue is, do you very wish for? Instead of, he sees automate more proper fair else instrument in the reporter's toolbox, a capacity orthopedic hand for reporters someone, in next, might regularly scenario algorithms to assist resource stories or make substance. Down there's a true anxiety how automate facilitates these type of attacks on complementary speaking, says Mr. Fonta. But News Story Labs has treated on toolkit to automation some components of journalists' jobs, he says, consisting same transcript of interviews and identity of extraordinary trends in social information. Time AI is certainly departure to be more than this in newsrooms. Joshua Benton at Harvard College's Nieman Journalistic Lab doesn't believe it yet poses a severe threat to jobs. Down there are far more pressures, such as declining advertisement rental income, he believes. And he as well says the very hard and largest very scrutinized portion of which vocational journalists do, thoroughly weight data and representing balance, contextualized stories, will be really difficult for machines to wizard. Nice journalistic is not fair a question of input and removing, down there is a handicraft how, yet incomplete, has developed above many decades, he explains. I'm not proverb how machines will never get down there, but I believe they're yet a cute length way off.